Hi everyone, welcome back to the Transitions Collective. I'm your host, Mary Clavier. Today I'm doing a solo episode to talk about 2019 business planning. I wanted to share a little more information and some tools and resources that you can use that I find helpful for my own business to help keep you organized and structured in 2019. So if you haven't already signed up for our community, you can go to thetransitionscollective.com/community. And when you sign up, you'll get a free download of my 2019 business strategy planning document. It has blank pages that you can use as worksheets to plan for your own business. And it also includes an example at the end so you can see step by step what I do with my own planning. So what I'd like to do with you now is just take you through some of that and explain it in a little more detail. And then as you go through the full document yourself and look at the example, if you run into any questions or anything, you can feel free to reach out. I'm at mary@thetransitionscollective.com. So this document, it starts with a little bit more about yourself and your company, kind of like laying the groundwork and a little bit of a refresh on your vision, mission, and your purpose. I think it's really important to stay grounded in that, knowing your why, who you're doing the work for, and why you're here, right? Because the passion is what fuels you to actually get this stuff done. So all the more reason to make sure that you're, on track. Okay, so in that first part, you can put for your vision where you want to be in the future, for your mission, what you do, who you do it for. And then the part with the purpose, I have as I provide blank for blank because or so that blank. So for example, for me with Brief Transitions Mesh Underwear, I could say I provide mesh underwear for women after childbirth and surgeries so that they can have the supplies they need for healing at home. So that's just one example of how that would work. And you can fill out what you do for your company and it'll help you to stay focused and think about what you're doing and help with your planning for 2019. Okay, so then at the bottom of that same page, we start with what your goals are. So listing your 3 goals for the new year. I like to start with 3 because 3 is a good number. 1 is not enough. 4 is maybe too many, but start with whatever you have. I use the acronym. It's very popular in corporate. You may or may not have heard of it, but it's called SMART. We would always build SMART objectives. So in this case, it's SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So making sure that your goals have structure that you can really align against them and check yourself against them to make sure that you're successful with them, right? So specific, so detailed, measurable, so that you have some numbers in there to really say like you're going to do X. It could be dollars of sales or something else in a certain time frame. Something attainable, so something realistic, but you can also work with stretch goals. Relevant to what you're doing and time bound, so putting that time frame around it when you know you'll want to accomplish it by. So depending how you work and whatever is easiest for you to do and will make you stick with this, most likely to stick with this, you can work in a monthly format, 3 months, 6 months, or the year. For me, I use this at least for 3 or 6 months. I think 1 month is a little bit small, but depending where you are, if you're still very early on and it just helps you stay focused on what you have to do next, then 1 month is also fine. But this can be used holistically or for more detail also. So on the next page, we break down one goal. So I'll go through the process of one goal and the strategies and techniques that go with it. So for your first goal, and it can be specific, it can be your specific SMART goal, or for now you can use a theme if that's easier for you, and you can circle back and put your metrics around it afterwards. So for example, if I said visibility was one of my goals for one of my themes for 2019, and then I would have to put specific visibility metrics around that. But just for example, in terms of a theme, I would say, okay, now I want to brainstorm the strategies that I could use to achieve this goal. So for something like visibility, if I want my business to be out there more, what could that be around? That could be around pitching to podcasts. It could be getting with local media, either getting written up or being featured in a show or in an article, something like that. Those are all different strategies. And anything I talk about with visibility, I learned from my very dear friend, Amanda Berlin, who is a PR strategist. She's incredible. So if visibility is your goal for 2019, go see her. Anyway, I digress. So yes, so then you would think about what strategies you could use to help you get to that goal. So if I wanted to be more visible, I could go a few different ways, depending on what's most comfortable for me. Maybe visibility is even just being out on social media more. Like say you don't have a social media presence right now, so your goal is to get out there consistently. So you would list the different strategies that you could use to reach that goal. Then what you would do is you would prioritize them. So prioritizing your goals in what's commonly termed a 4x4, like a 4-box priority matrix. So along the bottom, the horizontal line, you have a metric such as time. So the scale would be from quick implementation to longer term implementation. So something that would be fast to implement and something that might take longer. You can decide what you want that time length to be. Maybe 1 month is quick for you and 1 year is long, or maybe 6 months or 9 months. It depends on your business and what your range is based on what your time frame of these goals are. But you would pick for the bottom. I usually do time on the bottom, so that's how the examples in the worksheets are set up. And then on the vertical y-axis, you would have another metric, which I usually do effort. So is it easy or hard to implement? So easy would be at the bottom and hard would be all the way at the top. So at the end, you have boxes and you can rank all your strategies against each other. So strategies that are easy to implement and also short and fast for time, those go in the bottom left corner box, which would be your quick wins. And the things that are harder to implement, so all the way at the top, and also longer to implement, those go all the way in the top right box as the most difficult. So you'll see as you rank your strategies what that means, and you'll be able to pick which ones you prioritize. Maybe you prioritize the quick wins because those are the low-hanging fruit that you can get out there faster. And then you might want to circle back and go through things that take longer time, or you say, I want to do one quick win and one longer term. It depends on the balance of what's most important to you, but obviously the things that are easier to implement and shorter in terms of time are the best place to start. You can also do that same 4-box prioritization with any other values you might want. So you might want to put cost on there. So instead of length of time, dollar amount is more important. And then you can put, okay, this is cheaper. It has less capital and I can do it myself versus something that you might have to really invest or get a loan or something else. So you can use the priority matrix whichever way makes the most sense for you. Just make sure that you are comparing everything with the same scale so that it can stay apples to apples and you can really decide what's best for your business. Excuse me. Okay. So then from that prioritization matrix, you pick your top 2 strategies. Which are the 2 that you want to work on and focus on for the year or for the time frame that you fill out. And then you list the actions associated with them. So if I said in 2019, I want to be on a podcast, then I would list out the actions that it would take to be on a podcast. So I would have to research different podcasts to see which ones align with my ideal avatar. I would have to draft some copy or communication of some sort to the the podcast host, or look on their website to see what is the best way to pitch or apply to them. Some people have very specific instructions on how to do that. Also looking up the contact, who is the right person to contact to apply. Pitching to them, also having perhaps a follow-up note. So you would list out all of the actions that you might take in order to get to that goal, in order to complete that strategy. And then what you would do is you would put all of that in your calendar for the year. So I think it's really important to not only, list out all of these things, but the follow through of actually getting them in your calendar so that you're more likely to actually implement them. So what you would do is you would take the actions that you need to take your step forward and meet your goal, and decide when you put them in your calendar. Maybe for the month, you can break it down for the weeks. I do monthly and weekly planning, but I eventually get to putting them in my Google Calendar for a specific day, and I block out the time that I'm going to do that task. So now for these overall strategies, for these goals that you have, you will take them, list the strategies, list the actions, and then get those actions into the calendar. So you say, okay, this week I'm going and I'm doing this. And then, when February comes around, or even January, depending on when you're watching this, you can just jump right in and say, oh, I know what I'm doing this week already. It's set for you. So depending how you work best, I usually do a holistic view of the year, the months of the year, and then I break it down by the months and actually plan out. So the same way people plan out social media content, I also plan out the actions to get to these goals. So you can do it the same way. Again, there's an example at the bottom. If you have any questions on this at any point or you feel stuck, please email me, mary@thetransitionscollective.com. I'm more than happy to walk through it with you. You can take what you want from this and use it, and don't use what doesn't work for you. It's really just a resource to try to help you, another viewpoint on helping to get organized for the new year. And it just happens to be a way that I like to break it down and do it. So then what you would do is those steps that you have, so you identify the goal, you list the strategies, you prioritize the strategies, you list the actions, and then you set them in your calendar. You do that same thing for all three of your goals. So that's why I usually say pick one or two of the strategies for each. And then, because at the end that you'll still be left with 3 to 6 strategies, so you can fit them into your calendar. Now, in terms of the calendar, you can either look at them each and plan them into your calendar right after you do that goal, or you can wait till the end and put everything in the calendar at the same time. You say, okay, these are the goals I have. These are the strategies I'm working on. Now let me go and stick all the actions in at the same time so that you can adjust and see, okay, February, there's too many things going on. Let me move this to March, move something up or back. I also put my daughter's school calendar in there. So I have marked off already the days where she has spring break or last day of school or birthdays, holidays, those kinds of things. All of that is also in there so that I can see holistically for the year, okay, what's going on and how can I plan? Again, it depends on where you are with your business. If you want to do it for the year, or if you 3 months, 6 months, whatever you feel most comfortable with, it's important to do something that you're going to be able to stick with and that you'll feel organized with, and try to limit your overwhelm. I know overwhelm always creeps up with something, but hopefully having a schedule will help you for that to be feel like less of a burden. So that's it. So that's what I had. I wanted to share with you 2019 planning, strategies, and how you can turn that into actionable steps to help you in your business for the new year. So again, if you go to thetransitionscollective.com/community, you can download the free worksheet. It has an example at the end with all of the steps. I am always here. If you have any questions, mary@thetransitionscollective.com. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any topics you want me to cover in 2019 or any questions that you have, please let me know. I'd love to know how I can help you more in the upcoming year. Speak to you soon. Thanks. Bye.